Hey everybody, this is Nick Cannon with American Portfolios. I just want to do a quick video to show you a dynamic new tool we have in play that will help you very strategically plan for your retirement. And I'm just going to jump right into it so you see it and how powerful this thing really is. And so, creating a sample, client profile is pretty easy. So we're going to go through that part really quickly. So put your name, your contact information, what age you want to retire, what your annual income is, and what your increase in your annual income projected will be over the next few years of your working life. Then we put in what you have in your 401k or IRAs combined, what your annual employee contribution plus your employer match. So I did 6% for 130,000, and then so 6% matched that 6%, and then your other household savings, we put 95,000 for this piece. Social Security be calculated for you. And we can actually put that detail in there if you have your statement, and then if you have real estate income or other part-time employment, and then how many years you expect to get that income. So I'm going to leave that blank for here, and then pension if you have it. And then we go into monthly expenses. So for our purposes, we did monthly expenses at 6,000. Monthly expenses in retirement, we put for 6,000 as well. And then when you look at the loss tolerance, so this is the most dynamic part of this. This is the most unique part of this software, where it shows you the global financial crisis. And basically, it takes your portfolio and walks you across the timeline of the S&P performance, and it makes it hurt, right? So it not only puts the percentage, but also shows you how much money you're actually losing. And so for my purpose here, I'm putting 10% loss tolerance, which is almost $60,000. So it's half of my yearly income. That's, this particular person's yearly income. And so it'll show you kind of what that looks like from a loss tolerance standpoint. It's really important when you work with an advisor that you have a risk profile created, so they know and you know exactly what you're looking at from a risk profile and loss tolerance standpoint. And so when you look at this, the rate of return, analysis. So obviously our loss tolerance is 10% based on our previous discussion, and then we have, we need about 2.25% return every single year to make sure that we meet our retirement goals in retirement. And so, when you look at this, and again, this is not, please don't misunderstand this. I'm not promoting or soliciting any specific ETF or any specific investment. This is just to show you the overall portfolio and the overall software and how it works. And so when you look at this specific software and what it creates for you a portfolio that is pretty dynamic. So when you look at the benchmarking, the S&P, this is what your current needs are. So 2.25%, 10%. This is your investment amount. We're basing this off a worst calendar year in terms of the performance. Annualized return is at 11%. Loss tolerance again is at 10%. So when we look down here, this is the most powerful part of this whole software. So you're going to see, the upside capture. So for if the market goes up, S&P goes up 10%, you can look to gain probably about 8% of that 10%. So it's not gonna outperform the S&P. But if the market goes down 10%, you look to lose about 3.5%. So you're keeping more of your money. You're not getting as much performance as the S&P, but you're keeping a lot more money than if you would just directly invest in the S&P. So worst calendar year return, 10% is our tolerance, so that's what we created the portfolio. If you look at the overall S&P, you're looking at 37% as the worst calendar year return. Annualized return, you're looking at 11% annualized with this portfolio versus 7.5% with the S&P. And then these sections here are phenomenal and powerful. So you're going to take on 27% less risk. You're going to take on 3.5% more return. And at the end of the day, at the end of your time when you retire, you're going to have you should have $3.1 million more in capital based on this analysis. And so now let's say you want to start, implementing income here. So let's just say for, our purposes, we want to take the $72,000 out a year, and we're going to see exactly how that comes into play. So, $72,000 with this portfolio, with the amount that we have, it's not gonna meet us, all the way through retirement should you live to, 20 years into retirement, but it'll show you how much it will outlast or outperform versus the S&P. So if you look at the S&P, you're looking at running out of money in 6 years, right? So if you're taking $72,000 out based on your portfolio, based on your assets, you'll run out of money in 6 years. Whereas this portfolio will keep almost 17 years of income. Now, say you reduce that. So say you wanted to take out, $4,000 a month instead of $6,000 a month. You reduce your income, you downsize your house, whatever. So we go to $48,000 a year, and then look what happens. So now you run out of money with the S&P in 9 years, whereas you have money to and through retirement. So you can withdraw $1.3 million in probable withdrawals based on the portfolio and based on the performance, versus the S&P, where you only take out half $500,000 that you put in. And so you look at this here. So you have 27% less risk. You have 3.5% better return. Without withdrawals, you should have $3.1 million more in capital, and you can take out when you have everything left over after these 20 years. After the withdrawals, you'll have $1.6 million, and so you should have $1.6 million. And so when you look at this from an analysis standpoint, now this can be adjusted every year. You look at this, say your loss tolerance now is 5%, or you want to ramp it up and your loss tolerance is 20%. Or say you want to look at returns and try to go after bigger returns, and you don't care about the loss because you have the time horizon to make it up. You can do that. So there's a lot of really dynamic things you can do with this software. I think it's really powerful. I just wanted to show you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, Nick Cannon with American Portfolios.